Hi, everyone, and welcome to this embodiment call. Today we have a special guest, Ryan, and we are going to tune into embodied presence, which is what you teach, Ryan, and a bigger concept. We're going to get a little bit of a taste of what that is. So a bit of a practice and also possibility to speak about it. And the way that I feel like this is weaving into what we do in Unlock Your Design is really that everything starts with the body. And sometimes what we have spoken about many times when we're learning human design and Gene Keys more with our mind and our understanding, we can sometimes forget that embodied aspect. So to come back into the body, feeling safe in the body, regulating our nervous system is so important for anything and everything. And that's why I'm so excited, Ryan, that you're here and that we're actually getting some hands-on practice and like a little insight into your world. So yeah, please say a few words about you and about what we're going to do today.
Yeah, thank you, Bella. Thank you for having me on this call. It's always an honor to be of service and to connect with new people and to be able to share this body of work with others. In terms of embodiment, for me, grounding is foundational. So Bella sharing that it begins with your body, I wholeheartedly agree with that. And we can look at that in many different ways. We can go from the body outward, if outward is really a sense in this dimension of work that we're exploring, and then from the outside in, right, going in and out. And so getting the body quiet, embodiment, grounding being the foundation of that, getting quiet and still and finding patience and learning to commune with your body and finding the courage to really look at yourself and to be present with yourself. It takes great courage to do this work. And so I love being able to hold the space to facilitate that. I am from Molokai, Hawaii. So I am on the island of Molokai, and I'm a medical intuitive, spiritual coach. I'm also a teacher. I also facilitate healings. So that's my body of work, and I work in so many different realms as an intuitive. I do teach embodiment. I also work with CEOs and groups of scientists, entrepreneurs, anywhere where intuition or a deeper exploration of someone's experience is being called forth is where a lot of times I'll come into play. One of the biggest things that I really love that's so much fun for me is working with scientists. There's a couple groups of physicists there's one group that's professors at a particular university that I can't name. And there's another group that get together from around the world. And so it's a lot of fun to not having education in the physics realm per se, but what are we dealing with when we go into grounding and we go into embodiment? What are we actually working with? We're actually working with physics. We look at this body as an electrical system. Who we are as spirit or as soul is electric. And so I'm really curious, what does grounding mean to you? Does anyone have an answer to that? What does grounding mean to you? And it could be a little different for everybody. Anyone? Is grounding a new word or concept for all of you?
Connecting barefoot on the ground.
Barefoot on the ground? Yeah. What happens when you're barefoot on the ground?
Energetically detox.
Energetically detox? Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say literally feeling plugged into the earth's energy and feeling it coming up and mine going into the earth.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. Anyone else?
Yeah, for me, it's connected to the energy that I feel, connected to my breath, whether that's emotional, visceral, energetics, but then choosing whether it's grounding thoughts. Yes, it's grounding in the space I'm in, and it is earth, but it's through my connection to what I'm feeling, so that my connection is what I'm grounding. I'm bringing myself into like grounded presence with what is, with what's going on and with the earth.
Yeah. Beautiful. And you brought up something too, use the word feeling. So when we talk about Is there other ways of being able to sense into your grounding, or whether or not you're grounded other than feeling? Feeling is probably the most prominent. Anyone else? What are some byproducts of being grounded and feeling grounded? What do you experience?
Ryan, I was contemplating this, what you said in a recording when you said the more life force that you have moving through, the more grounded you can be. And it felt so powerful for me because I work with life force, and a lot of people think that, oh, if you have a lot of life force, you're going to be ungrounded because everything is kind of going up. But for me, the more I can feel alive with earth energy, with my own life energy, the more I can also be grounded and centered. So for me, that's interesting and worth mentioning as well.
Absolutely. And I think the other piece to that is, I would say that the more grounded you are, actually, the more capacity there is to bring in more of your life force, more of who you are. The more grounded you are, the more spaciousness you're able to find in your body, and exploration to bring in your own light and your own presence. So what I'd like to do is I'm going to take my grounding meditation, and I'm going to break it up into a couple parts so we can explore and have a little bit of an exploration of what it feels like. What is your sensory perception of how we're going to approach grounding? And then we'll come back, we'll talk a little bit about it, and we'll go into another step. So I might break this into 2 or 3 steps. We'll kind of bide by time and see where everyone is and go with the flow. So is everyone up for a little bit of a meditation, exploration?
Mhm.
Beautiful. So go ahead and close your eyes. And I have found over the years, there is some truth to this. If you're wearing glasses, go ahead and take them off. We won't be requiring your ocular vision in terms of outside or outward perception. So go ahead and close your eyes and just bring your awareness to your breath. And notice your breath. Simply be with the presence of your breath. And first of all, just notice how you're breathing. Breathing is such an important component to grounding and to embodiment. Notice how smooth your breath is. Notice if there's any blips in the breath or any hiccups. And bring your awareness now to the feeling of your breath. And for a few quiet moments here, just be with the simple feeling of your breath. Noticing the feeling of that breath as it enters into the body. You can feel the breath as it moves down through the trachea into the lungs. You can feel the lungs expand. Also notice how at the at the end of the inhale, notice that subtle stop. And then the breath begins to be exhaled. Allow the body to exhale that breath all of its own accord. So you're feeling the breath. Also begin noticing the smell. What do you smell in that breath? And my invitation to you is to be with the experience itself and to allow yourself for the time being to drop out of analysis. Allow yourself to simply be in witness mode, not engaging any of this, just simply being present to it. And as you feel the breath and as you notice the scent of the breath, maybe there's a temperature to the air that you're breathing in as well. Notice that. Notice the qualities of your breath. And notice how your body responds to your awareness of being with the flow of this breath. And go ahead and begin nose-mouth breathing just for a couple of minutes. And I'll guide you back into a normal, natural rhythm of breathing in a moment. But for the time being, go ahead and begin breathing in through your nose and allow breathing to be teamwork. So you're consciously bringing that breath in through the nose, slow, deep breath. And at the top of that inhale, simply let go. Allow the breath to be passed off to the body so the body can assimilate that breath all of its own accord. And then as you exhale, drop into relaxation and relax into that out breath. So you're breathing into the body, which lends a little bit of tension into the body. And yet on the exhale, you're simply going to let go. Let your body exhale all of its own accord. And as you're exhaling out of your mouth, allow your body now to gently begin getting a little bit heavier with every exhale. And the next inhale, affirm breathing gravity into the crown of your head. Gravity is approximately 62 pounds of pressure per cubic inch. So breathe that subtle heaviness of gravity into the crown of your head. And as you exhale and you relax into that exhale, notice that subtle heaviness connect into the crown. And notice that flow of gravity gently begin to move down over your forehead, down through the tops of your ears, and gently through the back of your head. The next exhale, gravity continues moving down now through the face, into the jawline. Your ears relax, your jaws relax. Gravity continues moving down now through your throat and neck, over the tops of your shoulders, your upper chest, and your upper back. So you're fully relaxing and surrendering your body to earth, firm dropping all physical energy low to the ground. Let yourselves be heavy. And on the next exhale, allow gravity now to continue moving down through the chest and the back and the upper arms. Noticing that subtle heaviness as it continues moving down. On the next exhale, gravity continues moving down through the mid-back and the elbows and the solar plexus area. On the next exhale, gravity continues moving down through the forearms, down through the abdomen and the lower back. Next, inhale in through your nose. As you exhale out of your mouth and you're relaxing into that out breath, allow gravity now to begin moving down through the hips and the glutes and the pelvic area, allowing for a more visceral sensation of being aware where you're seated, where you're resting. The next exhale, gravity continues moving down through the wrists and hands, down through the upper legs, down through the inner thighs, back through the hamstrings and the outer legs. Next exhale, gravity continues moving down through the knees into the shins and calves. Next exhale, continuing down, gravity has an opportunity to relax into the ankles and the feet. And take 3 deep, relaxing breaths in through the nose. And as you exhale, affirm a full body alignment with the downward flow of gravity. Simply surrender and relax your body deeper into the earth sphere. And notice what you're feeling right now. Are you tired? Are you noticing any aches or pains or discomfort that perhaps you didn't have before? All really important stuff. We're going to talk about that in a moment. Go ahead and allow your breathing now to come back to a normal, natural rhythm. And bring your awareness for a moment into your forehead. An awareness in your forehead, notice what it's like to be there. sounds, colors, symbols. Notice as well if coming into your forehead, if that shifted what you just created using gravity. That shift anything in your body? Did that perhaps unground you a bit? Or bring in another sense or sensation that you weren't aware of before? Awareness in your forehead. Take a moment now and gently allow your awareness to begin moving back. And you're allowing, big difference between allowing and actively doing or pursuing. So simply allow your awareness to gently begin disengaging from the forehead and moving back into the center of the brain, about 2.5, 3 inches behind the bridge of the nose. And notice what it's like to be there. Again, noticing sounds, colors, symbols. And allowing your awareness to stay rested in the center of your brain, go ahead and take 1 or 2 more gravity breaths in through the nose, exhaling out of the mouth. And as you exhale out of the mouth, set an intention for yourself to relax and drop deeper into your physical body. Sense and notice what's going on in your body right now. Now take a moment and set an intention for your learning, for our time together. And when you're ready, fill yourself with love and compassion. And if that's hard, think of something in your life that you adore, something that you might have great love for. And recall that memory online in your body and gift that to yourself. And when you're ready, go ahead and gently begin opening your eyes, bring your awareness back to the space you're in. Okay. So in terms of a grounding practice and the grounding that I teach, this is the first part of that meditation, is gravity grounding. And I'm really curious, what did you experience? I'd like to hear from a couple of you, whoever would like to share. What was your experience with that? What did you notice? How were you feeling before? What did you notice going into the gravity grounding? And how do you feel now? What are you sensing and feeling? Anyone?
I love the difference between being in the forehead and in the middle of the brain. It's just such an, yeah, like night and day for me. Here, I feel all the stress, and here, I feel like I'm in alignment with the rest of me. So that's powerful, just that little shift. And it really changes my whole experience.
Absolutely. And I wasn't going to talk about that so much today, but I'll just touch base on what you're speaking to. Is the prefrontal cortex of the brain is the analyzer. And that's pretty much where we've been accustomed or conditioned to reside. You know, a lot of us sleepwalk throughout the day. The subconscious mind is playing the tape that we then play out through our day. And that's how we live our lives, right? And it's kind of point A to point B, connecting dots, analyzing this, wanting to know the whys and hows, and tearing it all apart. We start dipping into the world or diving into the world of intuition and intuitive perception. Intuition is not only your inner wisdom voice, it's a byproduct of your own evolution, spirituality, and connection into the body. Yeah. And so when you bring your awareness and you direct it out of the analyzer, out of the forehead, and bring it into the center of your brain, for me, I like to call that area, and there's, we can look at the gut and take a look at that as, your center of intuition. But I want to make a very clear point here. for me in the body of work that I do. So just food for thought, sit with it. If it doesn't, settle with you, put it on the back burner or let it go. Yeah. Just because, these things that I'm sharing, these work for me and my clientele, they may not resonate with you, and that's okay. So for me, the center of your brain, that is your seat of intuition. And the reason being is because when you bring your awareness, your light of who you are, that resonance, that frequency, and you focus it in the center of the brain, you're literally activating the multisensory perception organs, if you will, in the brain that allow for sensory perception to be online. And that's how we recognize our intuition. So earlier, we were talking about this idea of feeling and what other senses are online. It's scientifically proven that there are more than 21 senses, not just the 5. There's more than 21. And so when we get really quiet and we learn to get still and grounded and present, we can bring our awareness back into the center of our brain, into that place. That's a place where we get to commune with ourselves as spirit. Really beautiful place to be in, and not always very easy in the very beginning to learn to reside there. So that's where there's practice. Yeah. I'm really curious, when you started gravity grounding, what did you notice in the body? Did anybody end up with any aches or pains or tired that you didn't recognize before? I'm a voice person. Can I have someone speaking? I would love to hear.
Hi.
Thank you.
I'll offer my voice. Yeah, I'm a voice person too. Yeah, I am steeped in my own stuff so much. I was trying to receive you. That's why I'm here, wanting to receive something different and maybe similar. And so I was actually struggling a little bit with the word gravity and the heaviness. I mean, I experience heaviness certainly in my body, but I was just noticing my energy kind of staying in my solar plexus, especially kind of whatever right now with where astrology, where my day is, where the energy, where my body is, what I'm experiencing. And so I just stopped trying. I was just kind of like, I felt like I couldn't do what you were asking me to in the moment. I'm sure I could at another time. But it was interesting. I appreciated being offered something different. And it was so sweet and funny when Bella was speaking about the front. And I was just having a funny reflection because I didn't want to connect there or have any connection there. I don't think it was a story. I was just like, yeah, whatever. And I won't say that I was necessarily focusing on pineal or the center of my brain or anything like that. But I immediately, when you started saying, when Bella was sharing and then you were, I had this self-critical thing about not using my masculine and not using my mind. So anyway, I'm just kind of both in my body and recognizing when my brain shows up and, has those little pieces. So yeah, I like just the experience better than the thoughts about my experience. But thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing that, because it's such an important piece to this body of work that I facilitate. The active analytical mind, when that gets in the way, it doesn't allow us. It's a big mind piece, right? And when we're operating in third dimensional reality, our intuition is beyond the scope of third dimensional reality, beyond the scope of this density. Yeah. And so when we begin really getting quiet and we can tune into the subtleties of our intuition, we begin to notice that. So when you're here in your forehead, it's kind of like having your nose in the TV screen. You're up in it, you're engaging it, you're identifying with it, you're a part of it in some way. Yeah. Whereas when you go to come back and allow and move back into this witness space, allow your awareness to be in the center of your brain, now it's like you're taking a step back and you're sitting back on the couch. Our peripheral vision begins to open, and our whole sense of vision opens and widens, because it allows us to find some neutrality with whatever it is we're experiencing in that moment. So with the gravity grounding, for example, yeah, if you're trying, that trying is a concept of mind, right? So we're mentalizing instead of actually allowing and to feel and to sense into our bodies and to sense what's there. So beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that, because that right there speaks to our everyday world as humans, right? We have moments where we can be really still and quiet and tuned and tapped and turned on, like Esther might say, and other times where we're, frenetic. And, we've been so accustomed, especially in today's world, where we're hearing and exploring this idea of light and then heavy, to get really heavy. Do I want to be heavy? Well, we're in this world. Earth has given us these bodies on consignment to allow us to be here. We're really here at Earth's request. And so to be able to get into these bodies and to get heavy and to feel this density and start claiming sovereignty and ownership, recognizing yourself as a singularity within this physical body, allows you to start being more and more in than of where you're at. And you also begin moving away from this pre-programmed conditioned experience that you've been walking and living to being in the center of your brain, listening hopefully to your intuition, following through, and creating more of a life of your own creation and inspiration. And that's really the body and the beauty of this work. And, in terms of grounding and what we're talking about here in embodiment, grounding allows and facilitates for all of that. From my point of view, grounding is 85-90% of all healing, whatever it is that you're experiencing. And it's actually said that a healthy body cycles within just a few hertz of earth energy, which is the Schumann resonance, or 7.32 hertz. Yeah. So any questions or comments, and we'll move into the next piece. Actually, I want to speak one more thing about gravity, but anything else, any other questions or comments?
Yeah, for me, the gravity, when you were mentioning the gravity, it really gave it a substance that I hadn't really explored before. And I was feeling, of course, what my issue is my back. And I felt called to strengthen my back, especially my upper back, and help the posture. So I feel like energetically that would align my body better. So I'm always feeling, and intuitively, it's like strengthening my back is like working on building wings. It's just feels so, so that's been my calling in the last month or two, is just strengthening my upper back, even my lower back, but my back in general, which is not really something that you go to the gym to do. Like, yeah, I'm going to go work out my back. But yeah, that's energetically, I feel like as I'm straightening out my back, I'm getting a better flow. And then I'm getting rid of that feeling, that unease that's, in the upper back. And then also I really liked the idea of the smell. When you mentioned a smell, I was like, oh, that's something I hadn't even thought of exploring. But I was like, oh, there's a whole new universe to explore right there that I hadn't really had time to imagine. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. I love that, because it brings a segue into the next piece around the gravity grounding. So Thierry, if you would unmute yourself one more time, would you say that when you were gravity grounding, you noticed more discomfort in your body? You noticed more tension? It brought more awareness to that area of your body for you?
What it did for me is it brought a substance into the breath where I could feel it enter and go down into my heart.
Got it. Okay.
It gave it a dimension, or a heaviness where it could be felt more readily.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Beautiful. Yeah, the one thing about gravity, when you start gravity grounding, gravity's bringing you're relaxing your body, and you're essentially bringing your awareness deeper and closer to the body. And so what happens, all of a sudden it's like I'm tired, or, my back's hurting, or I've got these pains, or I'm itching here, these things going on. A lot of times we're so disconnected from the physical that we don't even notice these things happening in the body. And so when we go to ground, what happens? The body is like, oh, coming home. We got to share all these messages, right? And so the body is then relaying these messages to you, the spirit, its inhabitant, via the aches, the pains, the fatigue, whatever it is that you're experiencing that your mind wants to polarize, right, as a negative quality. And what you'll find is that the more you ground and have a solid grounding practice and practice that every day, the more the body comes deeper and closer and begins in training and harmonizing with earth energy. It also creates the more intuitive capacity and perception to be able to sense and feel those people, places, and things around you that complement your grounding, yet also take away from it, right? So we talk about embodiment. We want to be embodied. We want to be grounded, because that's really where the magic happens. And this idea of having to go out of the body, anything that you want to experience in reality and all of creation, you can access that from within inside your physical body. You do not have to go outside the body to experience those things. As a matter of fact, there's a direct correlation between memory and grounding. Embodied presence equates embodied recollection. It's much easier to recall and to strengthen your memory when you're grounded and you're present in your body. So that's gravity grounding. So we kind of touched base on the gravity grounding a little bit, and also this place in the center of your brain. You're right there, your awareness is in the center of the limbic system. And so you're grounding and you're getting quiet. It quiets the whole system. Pituitary gland, the hypothalamus, the pineal, the basal ganglia, all of that comes online and activates when your light is consciously brought into that space of allowance and not making it happen. So with that said, let's go ahead and move into the last part of this meditation. And go ahead and close your eyes. You can remove your glasses. And set an intention for yourself to go ahead and just bring your awareness back into the center of your brain. And you may notice there's quite a bit of a rubber band effect, like this popping into the forehead and popping back, like you can get quiet. Thoughts come up, you've probably jumped forward again. So just be aware of those things and just come back to your breath. If you find that you start moving off in another direction other than where we're being guided. So awareness within the center of your brain. Take a moment and just take 3 deep gravity breaths. Breath in through the nose, exhale out of your mouth, and allow for a full body alignment with the downward flow of gravity. And you'll begin to notice the more you practice this, that as gravity comes down, you can literally sense and feel your energy being gently brought deeper into earth. And if you've noticed, I've said earth and not the earth, because earth is a living being. Go ahead and allow your breathing to come back to a normal, natural rhythm. An awareness within the center of your brain. Take a moment and notice the soles of your feet. And I invite you, if you dropped your awareness into the soles of your feet, bring your awareness into the center of your brain. Because we're in witness mode. And so we're going to witness from our intuitive center, the soles of our feet. And affirm opening the soles of your feet 100%. Those energy centers in your feet are fully opening to receive earth energy here in a few moments. And awareness within the center of your brain and present in your body, take a moment and greet Mother Earth and request that she greet you back. She sends a few pulses up into the soles of your feet. And on the next inhale, you can allow your breathing to be natural, normal for you. And on the next inhale, affirm breathing earth energy up into the soles of your feet. And as earth energy moves up into the soles of your feet, it begins collecting in the soles of your feet. Notice the qualities of earth energy: density, temperature, texture, weight. And invite earth energy now up into your body. And allow earth energy to continue moving up through the soles of your feet, into your ankles. Maintain awareness in the center of your brain and be in witness mode. Sense, feel. You can even visualize if you like, yet visualization sometimes can lead to mentalizing. So set the intention that as you're visualizing earth energy coming up, also allow yourself to feel it to the best of your ability. So allow earth energy, sense and feel earth energy continuing to move up your shins and calves. Moving up into your knees and the backs of your knees. As earth energy is moving up through the body, up through the lower legs, it saturates every cell it comes in contact with. It renews and nourishes those cells. It also allows those cells that are willing to relax and go, they can be released to move into apoptosis. Earth energy continues moving up through the upper legs, up into the hips and the glutes, moving through the bones and the bone marrow. Saturating fully through the pelvic area. Take one deep, relaxing gravity breath in through the nose. And as you exhale and relax into gravity, allow that current of earth energy that's moving up through the legs to begin cascading off the base of your spine, back to earth. So that you're creating this circuit, this cyclical flow of earth energy from the soles of your feet, up through the legs, and off the base of the spine. Allow that current of earth energy. Let's allow, 20, 30% of that. 70, 80% will continue falling off the base of the spine back to earth. 20, 30% of that, like a water table, would begin filling up through the lower abdomen, saturating fully through the reproductive system and the bladder, moving up into the intestines, the small and the large intestine. Continuing to move up into all the organs beneath the diaphragm, the liver, the gallbladder, kidneys, spleen, pancreas, the stomach. Moving up into the diaphragm and saturating through the diaphragm now. Belly completely soft and relaxed, hips relaxed and released. As earth energy continues moving up now into the chest cavity, filling up through the ribs and the intercostals, the space between your ribs, saturating through the lungs, continuing to move up into the heart and the thymus gland. The trachea and the esophagus, continuing to move up now to the base of the throat and neck area. And as earth energy moves up into the throat and the neck area, saturating through the thyroid and the parathyroid glands, it's distributed across your shoulders, and earth energy begins moving down the arms, saturating through the arms, and flowing out of the hands now, back to earth. So you have the cyclical flow through the legs, off the base of the spine, moving up through the body, through the arms, back to earth out the hands. Earth energy continues moving up now into the face, relaxing the facial features, saturating through your entire face and your mouth, saturating through the brain, gently moving up, pulsing up, and bubbling up out of the crown of the head. If your body were a fountain, earth energy is now this beautiful healing elixir, maybe even a mud bath that begins bubbling up out of the crown of your head, flowing down over the outside of your body, grounding out all conductive elements through the hair follicles. And awareness, reaffirm your awareness within the center of your brain for a moment. And affirm, I am wholly with a W. I am wholly present and grounded in my body. I'm wholly present and grounded in my body. We're going to allow that flow of earth energy now to begin receding from the crown of your head so you don't go to sleep, for those of you who are getting really relaxed. That flow of earth energy can continue receding through the face, throat and the neck, down through the shoulders, released out of the arms and the hands. Continues moving down through the chest and the upper back, receding through the midline of your body. Moving back into the cyclical flow through your legs. And the cyclical flow of earth energy through your legs will continue. There's a direct correlation. The quality of your grounding is directly related to the quantity of dissonant energy you are able to release out of the body and let go of. So affirm a strong flow of earth energy through your feet and legs. And before we close, remember, from this body of work, the seat of your intuition is in the center of your brain. And when your awareness is in the center of your brain and you set an intention, you as a creator are so powerful in that place that your intention automatically creates. Energy follows thought, which in turn co-creates. So it's beautiful because in this space, you get to set an intention and not have to do anything because the intention creates itself. So ask to be shown or to become aware of a symbol, sound, or a color you can use to fully ground your physical body. Trust the first thing that comes to you without changing it. And affirm resonating that like a tuning fork through the tailbone, through the coccyx. And this wisdom grounding information is going to begin to shift into a grounding cord. And it's going to drop from the tailbone all the way to the core of Earth. Take a deep, relaxing gravity breath. And that cord, the perimeter of that grounding cord, will stay connected into the coccyx. And now affirm, I am expanding and widening this grounding cord to the perimeter of my waist, to the perimeter of my body. Take a moment to just simply be and relax into the space that you've created for yourself. And in terms of grounding and embodied wisdom, awareness within the center of your brain requests that Mother Earth gift you with a piece of her wisdom that will complement your continued intention to stay grounded and present and embodied. To be radiant is to be embodied. Take a moment and conjure up a sense of love and compassion for yourself. Fill your body with love and compassion. Take a moment, and when you're ready, gently begin opening your eyes and bring your awareness back to the space you're in. So that grounding practice all together, if you bring it together, is about 20 minutes. And I will actually, if you're interested in a recorded version of the whole meditation, let me know. I'll put my email down here and you can email me and I will send you a copy of that meditation, okay? So that you can work with and play with. And if you have questions, you can always reach out to me. So I'll write that right now while we're talking about it. And y'all can open your eyes for a moment, come back to where you're at. How's everybody feeling?
I feel like I just got a massage.
Okay. Awesome.
I feel so relaxed, and I also experience a sensation of falling, like
Oh,
like
interesting.
what would be that? Curious. Yeah.
Yeah, willingness of really letting go. Yeah. Surrender. It's a good place to be. Yeah. Anyone else want to share your experience with that? So I want to touch base just on a couple of things about grounding and why grounding is so important. That's the first thing that wants to conjure up to be shared with you, because I could share so much about grounding and the importance of being grounded. For me, I love the science behind all this stuff. So even though experientially when I'm teaching, I like to incorporate some of the science too, because it gives a little bit more depth and background. It's not just woo-woo and ungrounded. It really has its place in the world. I love woo-woo, don't get me wrong, but I want it to be grounded and to be able to facilitate more of a healing sphere, yeah. So one of the beautiful things that NASA and scientists have discovered is that anti-aging, the more grounded you are, the slower the body ages, which in turn goes to say that the more grounded the body is, the slower the body's perception of time. So practice this. If you have a list of things to do and you've got a day that's just really packed and full, you know how you've got these lists, if you're a list maker and you can run through and it's like, get to the end of the day and it's like, crap, I still got all this stuff I didn't do. Next time you write a list, get really grounded and go through your day with presence and breathe. And what you'll find is that you'll probably be able to get everything on your list done with much more grace than the stress and the anxiety of running around trying to get everything accomplished, because it's this idea of action. And we go to find that the quieter we get and the more present we become in our body, that we can create anything from that space. That physical action isn't always needed. I'll share one more thing about grounding that I think is really, really fascinating, is that there's been studies done on people that are grounded and actually practice grounding, not just dropping roots into earth, actually bringing the current of earth energy up into the body. These bodies are of earth. So when we get really super grounded, not only does it allow our presence and our awareness of our body to be more keen, we also allow earth, we allow ourselves to be in deeper relationship with earth as she experiences herself through our physical form. So we're in teamwork and being here. And because of that, they've found that people that are grounded and run currents of earth energy more consistently versus people who take supplements, for example. People that are grounded without supplements have a greater level of minerals and antioxidants and all that good stuff in their body than people that actually take a bunch of other supplements. Now, I'm going to leave that to each person's own physical form, right? Every person's body is different. Yet, generally speaking, they found that, again, it just relays back to the idea that a healthy body is a grounded body. And I've heard someone once say that grounding is very good medicine. So I'll leave you with that. We could talk much more about that. I'm actually going to be teaching a 40-week class coming up in February next year, where we're going to dive into this. It's going to be a weekly class every week for 40 weeks. We will take a month off in between, or 3 weeks. But each week builds on the previous week. We'll be going in and learning to embody, cleaning up this body, honing in on your intuition, finding out what it really means to be embodied and to be present in a world that really needs and is asking for our presence and our medicine. We can't find that fully if we don't get grounded and out of our heads. So really nice to be present within our own light and our own radiance. If I have any questions, comments, yeah.
I just had a question when I heard you say you're on Molokai. Do you know Kuma Lawrence, or are you a student of his, or?
I know Uncle.
Okay, so you're not within that framework as well as what you're teaching now, within those teachings. You're not community with him.
Okay, so
Or
are you asking if I'm in community with Uncle, or if this is a part of that body of work?
I'm just asking if you teach any of that lineage, or if you practice or live any of that lineage, I guess.
I live it, but I don't teach it.
Right.
I mean,
okay.
it's one of those things. I do teach it, but it's not. It's here. You know, like I don't really teach and talk about a lot of that stuff out when I'm off island, or like, you know, on a public format like this. That's my own personal like relationship.
Mhm.
And being here, everything is protocol and everything is, you know, everything is relationship.
Yeah.
And that is something that we hold very sacred. So yeah, I mean, like before I go on a hike, I pray and ask permission to go in. I go out to the water, same thing. Whatever it is that I'm doing, there's always protocol and prayer and honoring and respect of where I'm at. Yeah. So I'm very familiar. I live that, yes. I don't really go to any of Uncle's community meetings or anything like that. What he teaches online. Yeah. You're talking about Lawrence Aki, yeah? Yeah. Yeah, it's Aki. There's only one Kumu Lawrence. Yeah.
I got a quick question. What's your daily grounding protocol? Like how long, 20 minutes a day, or 20 minutes in the morning and at night, or?
Great question. And what I would say to that is, in the beginning, when you're really learning to ground in this way, where you're incorporating the feeling and noticing what it's really like to be grounded, you've got your particular practice that you create for you. I mean, you can listen to the meditation I can send you if you'd like it, and practice that every day. And then the more you listen to it and the more you practice, the more you'll know what it's like to be grounded and feel like. So then you can take that information and really just claim it and own it as your own. And there's going to be ways that you might find that work for you in terms of grounding that may not work for someone else. For me, I stay pretty grounded most of the time, and I can tell pretty quickly when I get ungrounded. And I can usually just take, I can go from crying and being really upset to taking 30 seconds and getting regrounded to being neutral and present and focused where I'm at with whoever I'm sitting with. So it just takes practice to be able to get into that space and to be embodied enough that you have that relationship with your physical form, so that you're in communication consistently with the body. I just had this image, those people, we've all seen those people like walking down the street and they're bent forward and they're like on a mission. How many people run through their daily life so far outside of their body that their body's trying to catch up with them? Interesting perception. So yeah, 20 minutes a day, is always good if you find, and do it only if it brings you joy. Yeah. Like if you find throughout the day, like I'm so ungrounded right now. I really want to get grounded and sit down and do this, but maybe the mind is activated too. So maybe you can only sit down and just start with your breath and just go slow, sensing and feeling the breath. And you'll notice that breath will start evening out. Now you can start incorporating the feeling of your breath. Start blipping up again. That starts to quiet. Now start gravity grounding. As you gravity ground, blip, blip, blip. And keep relaxing going into it. It's a lot of patience, but you'll know. Do what brings you joy. 5 minutes a day, 20 minutes a day, whatever works for you. It's about relationship and not force. Beautiful question. Yeah. Also, I'll leave you with this too. If you're interested in connecting with me and working with me, on my website, ryanrichards.net, under services, you'll see what's called the Soul Exploration Package. And the Soul Exploration Package is what I offer first-time clients. And it's 2 different sessions. One's a 90-minute intuitive reading based on your questions. The second session is scheduled for a couple of days after the reading, and we facilitate an energy healing based on the focus that came out of the reading. But we can work with whatever you want to work with. But there's no limits to what you can ask. You know, it can be physical stuff. I'm a medical intuitive, so we can look at that sort of thing. We can look at anything. But I'm going to put up a discount code here for 50% off the Soul Exploration Package. So if you're interested in that, you can use that code and book that online. Okay. And that's only available to your group. So if this gets posted online, then anybody that has that will get to use it. But it's going to be, you know, honor from the place of you've partaken in this and you're more curious about who I am. Yeah. Or if you have somebody that thinks, you know, they might want to work with me and connect, just guide them to this video. Let them explore me and get a sense of who I am and what I'm offering. And then feel free to offer the discount code. But I'd love to work with you if there's resonance. So if there's no more questions, or Bella, do you have any questions for me that might be pertinent to what you all are doing here in the group?
No, I feel this is a really good first step. And I feel also is, you know, a bit of a taster of what you do. But if we don't have this foundation, I feel like there is no point of going anywhere else. So it definitely feels important that maybe all of us go back to this. And if we don't already have it, this is definitely where to start before we start any other thing, I believe.
Yeah.
And, you know, grounding, I believe that the way that you're doing is beautiful, the way you work with earth energy and then with life force, and like your way of seeing the geometry of being is how I would explain that. And then, you know, also I feel like what Olivia was saying before, we all have a way of kind of making that in relationship to ourselves, to our body, to our day. And that's also why it's so beautiful to bring you in, Ryan, so that we have a little bit of new inspiration into maybe what we're already doing. So that's so valuable. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, I hope this was beneficial for all of you. And I hope there's, you know, something in this that you can take away that really supports who you are and you get to take forward in the rest of your life. And if there's one invitation that I have for all of you, if there's one thing that you get out of this lifetime, it's to be grounded. To really be grounded and to show up and be here. Yeah.
Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Ryan.
Yeah, thank you as well. Should I sing us out? Do you want me to sing gratitude to everybody?
Yay!
Since you brought up protocol, and I'll sing gratitude. No, the ancestors just asked me to grab my poo, which is my conch shell, but I'm not going to grab that right now. It'll be okay. So just from the bottom of my heart, before I sing this, well, I'll sing this and we can leave. Thank you so much for showing up. Thank you for being present with me today, and enjoy a beautiful rest of your day. Create it for yourself. You're worth it. You're all magnanimous and beautiful beings.
Thank you, Ryan.
Ulaya kamakalo.
Ryan, I think that your Zoom is stopping us from hearing you.
Well, we can just practice like feeling him through, even though we
Very
can't hear him.
powerful.
Yeah, totally.
Ryan,
Oh
you're
no, I know.
what
Well,
happened? Is it you assume that it's like not original sign for musician, so it muted you, or what do you?
no, my laptop for whatever reason has this thing that'll pop up and then it just blocks like some kind of interference. And so it just mutes me.
Oh God.
Did you hear anything? Because I had my
Only
eyes
just
closed.
3 seconds or something.
Okay, well, I'll sing it and then we'll go out.
Okay.
And I am a little hoarse, so laugh at me if you will. Ula ia ka makaloala. Ua ike aloha la. Uka ia ka haluala. Hawehi mai nā lehua. Mai ko o kuia ka halawaila. Mahalo e nā kua. Mahalo e ke akua. Mahalo e nā kupuna laea. Mahalo me ke aloha la. Mahalo me ke aloha la. Mahalo. Mahalo for coming. Aloha for now.